Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to share with you how I prepared this creamy salmon and mushroom pasta. As you guys are aware, I have made a salmon pasta before and I have also made a mushroom pasta, but I was really craving both of them, so I wanted to combine the two. So for the ingredients, you're going to need some salmon, also some mushrooms and some double cream, along with some garlic and onions. And to also not forget, you will definitely need some pasta as well. To be honest, I don't even know what this shape of pasta is called, but I was so intrigued, so I decided to use this one for today's dish. And also, if you'd like to buy this pasta, I will add a link in my caption so you guys can check out the store as well. They have so many other amazing pasta. So yeah, to start off preparing this dish, I simply got the mushrooms which I bought, and I basically just peeled them, peeled the outside of them. And then once they're all peeled, I made sure to give them all a very good wash. I personally really do love mushrooms, so for this recipe I decided to cook them in very big chunks. And then as you do continue to cook mushrooms, they actually do shrink, so no matter how big you cook them, they will be a lot smaller once they're cooked. Honestly, when it does come to cooking certain dishes, I don't think we realise how long it actually takes to prep food, because there'll be so many times when I want to prepare a dish and it just takes so long to do all the slicing and everything. But I guess in the end it's all worth it. I honestly do not have any knife skills at all. I've been spending the whole week watching MasterChef and have realised I'm so slow when it comes to cutting, and I actually don't know how to improve or to get a sharper knife, but I guess I'll learn as time goes on. But yeah, once your mushrooms and your onions are cut like this, the next part is to start preparing the salmon. So when it comes to the salmon, I simply took literally 5 minutes to try and take it out of the packaging, and then I simply just rinsed it in some water. I'm not actually too sure how you should actually wash your salmon. I simply just rinse it in some cold water, and then just to dry it off, I'll just pat dry with some tissue. So I did end up taking the skin off, since that's how I want the salmon pastas to be. I remember once I did actually use skin on for a past recipe that I was going to make, but it honestly was not good with the skin at all. So I've actually only just learnt now, when it comes to salmon sticks like this, that they actually don't need fully cooking. And I did actually just learn this on MasterChef USA that I've been watching. But when they do make a salmon fillet, they don't cook it all the way through, so it's a medium rare, and I didn't even know that was a thing. So some of you guys might have your own way on how you cook your salmon, but I just tend to cook it kind of all the way through, so it starts flaking really nicely, but it's not too dry at the same time. And finally, it's about time. All the prep is done, so it's actually time to start cooking the dish. So in a non-stick pan, I added in 2 tablespoons of olive oil along with the 1 onion which we just chopped. Allow that to cook together on a medium to high heat for around 1 to 2 minutes. During this time, I added in 1 teaspoon of chilli flakes, So once them two have been cooking together, I then added in the chopped mushrooms. Turn the heat to medium to really allow the mushrooms to start cooking, because you don't want to add in the mushrooms to a high heat, because they'll just burn straight away. So just after you've added in the mushrooms, I then also added in 1 tablespoon of butter. This really allows the mushrooms to cook well together with the onions and bring out a really nice flavour. Once your onions become slightly translucent and your mushrooms have been cooking for them a couple of minutes, I then added in the salmon. Once adding in the salmon, I turn the heat to a medium to high, just so the salmon can start cooking and I don't want the mushrooms to actually start overcooking. So now when it comes to seasonings, I use 1 teaspoon of garlic and herb seasoning. If you don't have dried garlic and herb seasoning, then I'd recommend some fresh garlic along with some mixed herbs. After this, I add in half a teaspoon of salt. Half a teaspoon does seem a lot less, but I simply just wanted to add salt as I went. After the salt, I then added in half a teaspoon of black pepper. Make sure to give everything a good mix, and then at this point I actually turn the heat to medium just so everything can cook well together. Once everything is mixed well together, I then added in a heaped tablespoon of fresh garlic. And I didn't mention, once the salmon goes in, it really needs around 4 to 5 minutes to actually cook fully. Like, as you guys can tell, I've literally shredded the salmon up and the mushrooms are cooked really nicely. You're probably wondering who's in the background, but my mum was cooking some food. At the same time I was cooking, so she's just in the corner. This is clearly not related to my video, but I just thought I'd show you what my mum's making. She ended up actually making some beef pilau, which is basically just beef with rice. I did not end up taking a final video of how it looked, but it was honestly really nice. But I do prefer lamb though, beef is a bit too chewy for me. But yeah, back to this recipe, not my mum's food. So at this point, once my pasta is boiling, I actually turn the heat off, just so the mushrooms and salmon doesn't overcook. And I added in around 100 milliliters of double cream. To be honest, if you don't really want a creamy pasta, then I recommend you adding in your pasta just like that before adding in any cream, because it was actually really flavorful on its own. Once adding in the cream, I turn the heat to low, just so the cream can mix all together, and make sure your heat isn't on a high accidentally because it will start to bubble and burn. I ended up using the full tub of the double cream, and I simply just added more after I added in the first batch, because it just wasn't that creamy for me. You may also think that the double cream will just take away all the flavour, but you need to remember there's so much flavour in mushrooms and salmon, it's literally so good on its own, so the double cream really isn't needed, but it is still so good at the same time. So when I added in the second part of the double cream, I basically turned the heat from medium to high, just so everything can cook well and nice together. Also, don't forget to taste the sauce. For me, it was actually so flavourful, so nothing really needed adding. You might have thought that I hardly use any seasonings because I kept it really simple, but honestly, less is more sometimes. And the last part of this recipe is just simply adding your pasta. I really did think to use another type of pasta, but this one was just so different, and it honestly tastes really nice as well. It's not starchy and too thick, so it's really nice. So because the pasta was way too long and I couldn't even mix it properly, I actually had to snip it in half. They were just way too big for the pan, but they still do look really good. So just for the extra kick, I then added in half a teaspoon of chilli flakes, along with half a teaspoon of some more garlic and herb seasoning. I can't even explain how nice the dish actually smelled. I thought the mushrooms and salmon would clash, but they're just two very strong ingredients that work so well together in a pasta. But yeah, this is how the dish turned out. I honestly can't explain how nice and different it was. So if you're a fan of mushrooms and salmon, then this recipe is definitely for you. I've literally been spending a lot of time experimenting new dishes, so I can't wait to share them up on my channel. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.